Yeah, so I thought today we'd speak a little bit about that flow of creativity that I see coming out of you and which I think all of us are trying to tap into. And I'd love you to share a little bit with us how it works in your life and how the magic comes about and what it feels like in the moment that it's happening. Yeah.
I'm going to try and tune into that. I think most creativity for me stems from a feeling of excitement. Getting excited. Wouldn't it be great if... there's two kinds of creativity for me. There's the kind that happens spontaneously and the kind that has to be scheduled, like when there's a singer coming in or there's a shoot to film and it's on Tuesday, The first kind is the most wild, chaotic, exciting side. It's just when you're having a conversation with someone or you're by yourself and you just get an inspiration and suddenly you get that palpable, tangible feeling of excitement that this is something you want to act on right now. And immediately you write down the idea or you call the person you want to do it with or someone to bounce it off, see if they think it's a good idea too. Or just immediately go straight into the flow, straight into the action of manifestation. And that's a really exciting thing to happen because it has limitless energy. When you're excited about something, you can go all night doing it, and you'll never run out of energy. And excitement to be creative has its own limitless energy source. And certainly when I first ever started writing songs or making things, there was never a thought to selling it at the end. There was never a thought to the end product or how it would be received or how well it would do. So there was a great purity when I was in my 20s doing these things because I wasn't feeding my family with it. There was nothing at stake. There was nothing to live up to because there'd been no previous success. So it was just purely the raw excitement of, hey, wouldn't it be fun to do this? And that's been coming back into my life more and more since the second One Giant Leap, What About Me? Like when we shot the Ubuntu Child documentary in January, that was purely, there's no thought to make any money from that film. It was purely, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to get these poets from around the world doing premature praise poetry for these 35 orphans with AIDS. Wow, that would be so incredible. Just to have the experience, almost like filming it, making the movie about it was secondary. Just, wow, this should happen. And not caring about what money it's going to make or even necessarily what its final form will be. I really recommend, not allowing those concerns to come in too soon. Just really stay as long as possible on the enjoyment, not on the sensible side of what's going to happen with it, who's going to broadcast it or distribute it or who's going to fund it. There's an awful lot of creativity that can happen before those questions are asked. Like if the funding and the distribution is D, E, and F, do A, B, and there's a lot you can do in A, B, and C before you even need to think about D, E, and F. And a lot of people don't start their A or their B because they can't think of the funding or the distribution or whatever down the line. They don't bother doing beginning steps. But actually the truth is that when you do A, B, and C, D magically presents itself. But one of the rules of the universe is D is not going to be coming to magically present itself till you've shown the universe you can do A, B, and C just out of your passion. So don't think too much about the things for later on. Think about what's right now, which is having the idea, who can I get to do it with me? What's the most fun thing we can do here? Let's get it started and see what happens. There's a lot that can be done. Like if it's a musical idea, getting someone to come and play the song with you, make the song with you, play it around a few times, play it to some friends, record it on a crappy system, write some lyrics. Before you know it, you've got a really great song that you can perform. Then suddenly somebody can hear it and give you an idea about where it might go from there. But yeah, don't limit what you're going to do because you don't know what's going to happen later. That's the first thing I'd say. And the other thing, which is slightly more tricky, is like scheduled creativity. So-and-so's coming at noon, we're going to write a song. Or we're on stage at 10. To turn it on at a prescribed moment. That has sometimes been quite hard for me until I realised that all the parts of me that couldn't do it were ego parts. And I don't mean ego as in pride or self-importance, or I mean purely this Jamie that's talking to you now, this front mind, thinker sitting in this room, just had dinner. If I think about having to go and give a talk now to hundreds of people, there's a feeling of nerves or something, because the ego thinks it has to talk to lots of people. But what really happens is you walk out onto the stage. What I do is I walk out and I spend 30 seconds disappearing. I don't walk out and start speaking. I walk out and I deliberately stop. Even to the point of it being quite uncomfortable for everybody and me to stand in silence. But I don't mind. I just stand and I just look and just really arrive fully in my feet, my body, and look around, everybody, connect with as much of the room as I can.
Yeah.
Really arrive in my body, really empty. Hello, empty. And then it's not my ego that's going to start talking, it's my emptiness. So stage fright and nervousness about creativity is actually the ego thinking, shit, I can't do this. And the truth is, you're right, the ego can't do this. It's your emptiness that's going to do it. And so it's like, you're right to be frightened, because if the ego did have to write the song or give the talk, it would screw it up probably. You can't think up anything great, really. You can only empty and listen for something great. I'm a big believer that creativity is a receptive, not a yang thing. It's a yin thing. You don't make up a song and think up a song. You empty and go quiet, and as you play the chords on the guitar or fiddle around, you empty and you listen for a song. And you hear it, and then you quickly try and write down what you heard. And the same thing is if you're listening to a great friend who's having a problem. If you're really listening to them, something will arise that's helpful to them from you. Not anything you could think, oh, so-and-so's having a problem in their relationship. What can I be useful about that? No, but if you're just truly listening emptily with your full heart, something genius will arise, which isn't anything you could think up. So all great offerings, creative advice, sex, parenting, is all from the emptying and listening place. It's all from the yin.
Yeah.
It's all receptive. No ideas are thought up. Ideas, if you've got to think up a title for something, or you've got to think up an idea, yes, you can sit in a room and go, for the next hour I'm going to try and think up this idea. I would never have very much success doing that. But if I say to my creative emptiness, Jamie, we need to come up with a really great title for this song or this book or this album, and then not think about it, just go about your day. At some point later on in the emptiness, when you're having a bath or you're reading the kids a story or you're cooking, suddenly the idea comes. It's got its own mechanisms that are working independent of the front mind. So I suppose the biggest thing I can say about creativity is that it's an emptying and a listening.
Yeah, I can connect with that quite deeply. It's more of an allowing. Yeah, it's an allowing it to flow through, and a trusting that once you've set that intention, or you've put that vision out there, knowing that it will come, and just going about doing things, and it does. You know, if you're looking and you're listening,
and knowing that it's not your ego that has to do anything that it doesn't know how to do.
Yeah,
it's something that's going to be given to you. It's more like ordering something online. You want to order a book online. You don't have to write the book. You just have to order it.
Yeah.
And then at some point it'll come in the mail.
Yeah. It's also about slowing down a little bit, not rushing anything. Whenever I seem to be rushing or pushing on any level, it's an output, it's a pushing, and it seems to stunt the process. It's the other way around.
Yeah. It's like, it's going to come. That's one thing I can say, is that it's never let me down. So because it's never let me down, this emptying and waiting process, I can be grateful in advance.
And you've learned to trust it.
Because I know that later, I can trust it, and because I can be grateful for it. Go, wow, there's this limitless abundance of ideas and creativity there for me. All I have to do is put in my order. And because I can be grateful about that, it never fails.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's interesting. I'm going to try that with other stuff. Try that with money. Next time I'm going to be sitting in a Rolls Royce when you speak to me. I think we're onto something.
And would you say that when the idea or the intention is something greater than yourself, when it's more of a selfless...
No, I wouldn't put that judgment on it. That's asking for trouble.
Okay.
If you think it's fun, it's a good idea for the universe,
Okay.
whether it's helping kids with AIDS or not.
Yeah.
If it's fun to you and exciting to you, that's good enough for God.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be good. It doesn't need to be selfless, or, it might be totally like, I think that's a problem with our societies. Like, I hear a huge judgment in what you're saying there
Okay.
on yourself. Maybe that I would give yourself a break. That you having your needs met and you having your excitement is just as valuable as some kids with AIDS having it or some rainforest being saved. If
Yeah.
you're excited, you are equally worth an orphan with AIDS or a rainforest or anything.